first boss in the Halls of Valor dungeon. Tanks face him away from the group. He has a cone attack and deals high damage called Bloodletting Sweep, and leaves a bleed on players and reduces healing by 25%. Use active mitigation for yourself. One of his main abilities is Horn of Valor. It deals heavy party-wide damage and calls storm drakes to fly over the bridge. Drakes may come from the left or the right and choose either the front, center, or back locations. They use Storm Breath, which covers the section they choose, with Static Field, which deals heavy damage to anybody standing in it. It also summons electric tornadoes, which you would need to dodge for the rest of the encounter. Just move out of the field, and like I said, dodge the tornadoes. The amount of drakes change with HP of Heimdall. 75% is 1 drake, 50% is 2 drakes, below 50% is 3 drakes. Another ability is called Dancing Blade. It's a spinning blade throw at a player location. You can dodge the attack since the target and the location are chosen at the start of the Dancing Blade cast. If you do not move, you take the initial damage and are knocked away. This lasts 30 seconds and will deal damage to anyone standing in the circle of the blade. Heimdall surrenders at 10%. This will be your second or third boss of the dungeon depending on which direction you took. She will gain the abilities of whichever mystic spirit she is nearest to. The longer she is near a mystic spirit, the more damage you will take from those abilities. To counter this, you just move the boss from one mystic spirit to the other. On Solson's side of the room, she will gain Mystic Empowerment Thunder, which gives her these two abilities, Arcing Bolt and Eye of the Storm. Arcing Bolt targets a random player, deals nature damage, and chains it to other players, so spread out. Eye of the Storm deals a bunch of nature damage to all those not in the giant bubble, and only moderate damage inside the bubble, so just get in the bubble. The boss will not use Arcing Bolt during the storm, but she could possibly use it right after. On Olmir's side, she gains Mystic Empowerment Holy, which gives her Sanctify and Expel Light. Expel Light is a debuff on a random player for 3 seconds, and when it expires, it deals heavy damage to all within 8 yards. Spread out if you have the debuff, or melee run out. Sanctify. She will shoot orbs of light out from her in all directions. Anyone hit with an orb takes damage, and it will deal damage to the party as well. Dodge the orbs. Do note that if you use an active mitigation such as Instinct Magic Cell, because your dodging skills are not super, the group still takes damage. Shield of Light is another ability she just passively has. Every 30 seconds she casts it, and it deals heavy damage to all players in a line in front of her, and knocks them back. Tanks, you can use this to readjust the boss accordingly to which side you want to go on. Since this is Mythic, her stacks do not drop immediately when you switch Mystic sides. However, they do drop over time. Because of this, she will still cast Arcing Bolt or Expel Light, depending on the side she's on. Will be the next boss you encounter. You will face him twice. During the first encounter, he casts Unnerving Howl, Ravenous Leap, and Claw Frenzy. Unnerving Howl deals no damage but interrupts any spells being cast. Ravenous Leap will occur roughly every 30 seconds. It will target 2 non-tank players. They will receive a Ravenous Leap debuff and a red skull arrow above their heads. 3 seconds later, he will leap to one of the player's locations and attack, dealing moderate physical damage to all players in 10 yards, and applies a bleed to every damaged target. He will then jump to the other player's location and apply the bleed. Claw Frenzy, an attack he uses against a tank every 20 seconds. It deals heavy damage that ignores armor, cannot be dodged or parried. However, the damage is split between the tank and all allies in 12 yards. After you get Fenrir to 60%, he will run away to his den to lick his wounds. After you defeat some trash mobs, you can reach Fenrir at his den. The fight's pretty much the same except from some minor changes in a new ability. The changes are, Ravenous Sleep now targets 3 to 4 players instead of the original 2. Unnerving Howl now calls 3 Even Claw packmates to appear. They'll come in stealth and are non-targetable until they reach Fenrir, where they'll come out of stealth. The tank should pick these up and you guys can nuke them down fairly quickly. The new ability is called Scent of Blood. He will target any non-tank with the Scent of Blood debuff. He fixates on that target and will run after them for 6 seconds. His melee hurts for a lot, so you should kite him when he's fixated on you. The fixated player gets a 25% speed buff, just be careful not to pull any additional mobs. King Scobold is the second to last boss in this dungeon. The main mechanic is to use the Aegis of Agrimar to avoid his Ragnarok ability. Have the tank pick up the shield before the fight begins. Use it when he casts Ragnarok. Everyone stands behind the shield to continue DPS and to avoid the damage. It is best to cast the shield during the cast bar of Ragnarok to avoid it ending early. Once over, the shield overloads and Scobold takes it. Now he can only be damaged if you're standing behind the shield. He also throws out patches of infernal flames, which deal fire damage to those standing in them. The first 3 patches also spawn Flame of Woe adds. They attack players at random with melee attacks, and leave extra patches of infernal flames. This can get really out of control, so kill them quickly. Once done with the shield, he throws it away and the tank can pick it up again. Another ability is called Fellblaze Rush. It picks a random non-tank target, rushes to them, and deals heavy fire damage that spreads to all the players in 10 yards of the initial target. Range should spread out, and melee should watch out, especially because he uses this ability right after every Ragnarok. Another ability he does is called Savage Blade. It deals heavy damage to the tank and applies Ragged Slash if no active mitigation was used. Odin is the last boss in this dungeon. Early in the fight, and every minute after, Odin will draw players to his current location and begin to channel Radiant Tempest. It's a giant circle that you need to run out of, or you will die. He also casts Spear of Light. A golden swirl will indicate that a Spear of Light is coming. After 3 seconds, it explodes, dealing heavy damage to players within 8 yards, and light damage to all players in the party. After summoning 3 Spears of Light, Odin will shatter spears, which causes all Spears of Light to burst into fragments. These will stun players and deal very high damage. After he shatters the spears, Odin will cast Runic Brand. Each player gets a different brightly colored symbol, and they must run to their matching symbol on the floor. When this is done, players become branded. Branded players become Golden Valkyr and deal 50% more damage and healing for the next 30 seconds. Odin also summons a Stormforce Obliterator somewhere in the area. You need to interrupt this ad ASAP, because he casts Surge, which deals heavy damage to the whole group. It also reduces the next cast by 100%. Keep in mind, the times he summons this ad is random, so he can do it even when he's casting Radiant Tempest. Players don't die during this encounter. Become unworthy, and Valkyr will come down from the top of the stands and pull them up, meaning you cannot B-res anyone in this fight. The fight ends once Odin reaches 80% and deems you are worthy of his challenge.